Let's be seated, please. Minister in the Presidency, Minister Mondli Gungubele, who's chairing and directing our program, Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Dr. Blade Nzimande, Minister of Health, Dr. Joe Pahla, the Premier of the Western Cape, Mr. Alan Winde, the Mayor of Cape Town, where I pay my rates and taxes, Mr. Lewis, Chairman and CEO of NantWorks, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, Director of Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Dr. John Nkengasong, Africa Regional Director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, President and CEO of the South African Medical Research Council, Dr. Glenn Gray, Chief Executive Officer at Access to Advanced Health Institute, Dr. Corey Casper. And I think we have Directors General of our government, starting with the Director General in the Presidency, Ms. Pindi Baleni, and also academics. I think the Vice Chancellor of the University of Stellenbosch would be here. I saw him this morning, as well as the Dean of Medical School. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, I'm really delighted to be here because today we are gathered to witness what I would call a milestone in Africa's onward march towards health, progress, and prosperity. And it is within the walls of this facility here that would appear to be empty, but which is about to be filled with high-tech machines, manufacturing capability, that we will be able to have advanced skills that will be developed, and through other initiatives across our continent, that our vision for vaccine, diagnostics, as well as drug manufacturing in Africa will soon take form. And having listened to Dr. Soon-Shiong here, it is about to take form and to take off. And I want to applaud you and congratulate you for the work that you're doing. This state-of-the-art vaccine manufacturing campus that we are officially launching today is part of a far broader initiative to propel our continent, Africa, into a new era of health science. The establishment of Africa's Access to Advanced Healthcare Coalition is in itself a bold step to unite biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies, government agencies, non-profit organizations, and academia. A powerful coalition indeed. And this coalition gives effect to our firm belief that Africa, our beloved continent, needs to harness its skills, its human capital, and other resources, and identify opportunities for collaboration across several countries, which is what Dr. Soon-Shiong was elaborating on here. The coalition recognizes that Africa has both a great need and vast capabilities. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed in many ways the extent of our continent's health challenges. The pandemic has revealed the huge disparities that exist within and between our countries on the continent with regard to access to quality health care, access to medicines, diagnostics, and vaccines. And the challenge of access to vaccines was demonstrated manifold as we struggled right at the beginning of the vaccine availability challenge to access those vaccines when the Western world was hoarding those vaccines, and when they had ordered so many more billions of vaccines that they were not using but not making available to our African countries. At the same time, this pandemic has revealed the depth of scientific knowledge and the expertise and capacity of our continent. We were able suddenly to see the explosion of knowledge right across the continent. And I say so advisedly as the AU champion for COVID-19, having set up the commission that is dealing with COVID-19 as well as the health challenges our continent faces. Right across the continent, we've been able, through Dr. and Professor Olive Shisana, to find scientists in almost every corner of Africa who we have corralled to be part of this commission. I've been really, truly impressed with the number of scientists that we have. And COVID-19 has just revealed them and brought them to the fore for use for the advancement of healthcare capabilities on our continent. COVID-19 has also shown that we are capable of, when we work together, we are capable when we are able to mobilize all our resources to confront a common challenge. Through the African Union and the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in collaboration with a number of institutions across the continent and with the support of many international partners, we have mounted a formidable response to COVID-19 in Africa. Unlike our response to other pandemics, our response to COVID-19 has been quite phenomenal, from developing a strategy, a continental strategy. I know of no continent, possibly other than Europe, that has been able to develop as comprehensive a strategy as Africa did. And here we must applaud the work of Africa CDC as led by Dr. John Nkengasong. And we must also applaud the support that we received from the WHO and Dr. Mweti in her continuous engagement with the work that we're doing on the continent is a clear demonstration of that. As the Africa Union champion of COVID-19, South Africa supports vaccine manufacturing in Africa to ensure that we become self-sufficient as a continent, that we shared those colonial chains that have always bound us. We shared them and become self-reliant. And today, it's a demonstration of how we are moving forward to being self-reliant as a continent, and we should be proud of what we are achieving. Bit by bit, those colonial chains are being broken. And today we are breaking some of those links. And thank you very much, son of South Africa, Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, for coming back to your continent to do this. Africa should no longer be the last in line to access vaccines against pandemics. Africa should no longer go cap in hand to the Western world, begging and begging for vaccines that they just want to drip off from their tables. We will stand on our own. This we are determined to do, and this facility is proof of that. As some of you may recall, we were part of the launching of the WHO MNRA hub led by Afrigen. Today we are marking the establishment of an initiative that aims to develop next generation vaccines that will reach patients across the continent. This new entity, we understand, will collaborate with the MNRA hub by providing RNA enzymes that they need to provide or to produce vaccines. Through initiatives like the Africa Medical Supplies Platform, you may recall right at the beginning of COVID, one of the challenges that the whole world faced was access to personal protective equipment. And at the African Union level, we led a process of establishing a Continental medical supplies platform that, when set up, helped to bring prices down, and we were able to acquire and purchase and procure PPEs at a much cheaper price, because combined together as the countries of our continent, 1.3 billion people, we were able to ensure that all African countries were able to secure sufficient and affordable supplies to respond to the pandemic. This was a first in the world. We were also able to attract other parts of the world, particularly the Caribbeans, who are a region of our continent, to also procure these medical supplies through the platform. So Africa led the way, and everyone is in great admiration of what we were able to set up in working together. We should give applause to our continent. Africa has had to wage a concerted fight to secure vaccines for its people. Thanks to the outstanding work of the African Vaccines Acquisition Task Team, led by Strive Masiyiwa, a businessman of Zimbabwe who I appointed to lead this process, we've been able to secure 500 million vaccine doses for our continent, because we worked together as a continent and stood together and fought together, struggled together, until we were able collectively to mobilize these 500 million vaccines. And others are just continuing to pour in. And this represents or demonstrates the strength of working together as a continent. And this great achievement, under extremely challenging circumstances and conditions, is something that we need to highlight, so that when we face either future pandemics or other challenges, we should remember that when we work together, we are able to achieve much. But those doses represent only around half of what the continent needs to vaccinate 900 million people in order to achieve the 70% target set by the WHO to achieve population immunity. We need more vaccine doses. We need better therapeutics. We need to protect the people of our continent against future variants and future pandemics. We have seen that if we want to safeguard the health of our people, we need to have the means and the technology and resources to produce vaccines and treatments for all manner of diseases that afflict the people of our continent. That is why we have been working to establish new pharmaceutical manufacturing capabilities to produce the COVID-19 and other vaccines. This NantSA South Africa facility, or SA facility, will make a vital contribution to this mission, complementing the work already being done by companies like Aspen, BioVac, and Afrigen here in South Africa, and several other companies in other parts of our continent. Our goal is to cover the entire vaccine production value chain by upgrading existing capacity and bringing new capacity on board. Emerging African manufacturers need technology partners to develop their skills and to assist the technology transfer that is so necessary in this technology-driven industry. We shall scale up and diversify our production capabilities with the proper support and collaboration. And collaboration we are managing to mobilize. And it is collaboration on good terms, and may I say on our terms as well. And we don't want collaboration that continues to perpetuate those colonial chains that I was talking about. As the African continent, we have much of the capability and the expertise and experience needed to manufacture vaccines. That is why we welcome partnerships with entities like Access to Advanced Health Institute, the Soon-Shiong Family Foundation, and NantWorks to mobilize investment, to transfer technology and know-how, and to develop the skills. We are already seeing the benefits of this partnership. This morning I had the privilege of visiting Stellenbosch University to see the collaboration that exists amongst a number of our own universities here, but also to see the work that is being done by our Department of Innovation and Science to support these efforts. The minister was telling me that we had already supported this massive institute that we are setting up, that is underway at Stellenbosch in cooperation with a number of other entities around the world as well, where we have already invested 300 million rand of a 1.2 billion facility that is being built in Stellenbosch. And thank you very much, Minister, for doing that. Now, we also enjoy the support of the Soon-Shiong Family Foundation, which includes the donation of 2 large DNA sequences right there at Stellenbosch, which will help the center to spearhead the genomic revolution in South Africa. I wish many of you would also visit the Stellenbosch facility, because it is going to house up to 1,000 scientists. It's going to train hundreds and hundreds of young people and scientists in this facility that we have at Stellenbosch University. South Africa's capability in genomic surveillance are recognized worldwide and have been vital in our response, and indeed the global response as well. to the emergence of new COVID-19 variants. And Professor Tulio was telling me that they've been in conversation with the top scientists in Russia, in the United States, and in Europe, and they've just been amazed at the capabilities that we have here. And some of them have whispered to Professor Tulio that you, South Africans, are far ahead of us. And this is happening here on South African soil, and we should be proud. And admittedly, this has been possible through collaboration, which we are very pleased with. Here we talk about the collaboration between the laboratories, scientists, academic institutions that established the network for genomic surveillance in South Africa that Minister Nzimande was talking about. We also talk about the collaboration between the public, the private, and non-profit sectors in funding this work. We must recognize the funding provided, as I said, by the Department of Science and Innovation, the South African Medical Research Council. You have a lot of money, it seems, Dr. Gray. I'm glad you've been given a lot of money to be able to do that. We also have the Rockefeller Foundation, the U.S. Institute of Health, the European Commission, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and of course, the Soon-Shiong Family Foundation. So this broad collaboration is also assisting us in being among the best in the world. We also talk about the collaboration that is taking place between scientists and institutions across the African continent and across the world. While we welcome and applaud the investment that is being made in cutting-edge equipment and facilities, the type of equipment that Dr. Soon-Shiong was demonstrating here, we recognize that the most significant and sustainable investment that we can make in this regard is in human skills and capabilities, in enabling our scientists, our young people, to be well-skilled to operate in this field. Nearly half a century ago, South Africa made an investment in the education of a young man from Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha, born of Chinese immigrants. It is fair to say that the apartheid government of the time made that investment, I would say, reluctantly, because of his, what they called racial classification at the time. And we know that in the face of the then government's racist policies, that young man had to struggle hard to get the education to which all young people should be entitled. Yet today, South Africa is the beneficiary of the investment that was made in the education of Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong 50 years ago. And a great many young Africans will benefit from the 100 million rand endowment that the Soon-Shiong Family Foundation has established to establish the education and training of a skilled workforce in the biotechnology field and life sciences industry. And let's give Dr. Soon-Shiong an applause and thank him. And these scholarships will significantly assist in building capacity across Africa and establish a legacy of excellence and innovation in science for decades to come. So our continent stands ready to enter a new age of medical science. Our continent and our country stands ready to take responsibility for the health of its people, to understand better the diseases that afflict them, and to develop the means to manage these diseases. As AU COVID-19 champion, And as we have our meetings in the Commission, I am already seeing that a great foundation is being built, because we've now moved beyond, or we are moving beyond just tackling COVID-19. We're beginning to tackle the health systems on our continent, to tackle the surveillance that we should have for future pandemics, and to tackle those from a technological know-how point of view, but also tackle what I call the ramifications of the second pandemic, the gender-based violence impact that these pandemics are having on our continent. So we're tackling a plethora of disciplines on our continent through this commission that we set up. And it's great work that is being done through the many scientists that span from Algeria right through to the south of our country, that span right from the west to the east, where we've got so many talented and well-endowed and well-trained scientists who are doing all this work. So we stand ready to contribute to global scientific inquiry and knowledge, and to develop treatments, diagnostics, and vaccines that will serve humanity. What we are asking for, what we need, and what we now have is the opportunity to realize this bold, noble vision to reposition healthcare on the African continent. As I often say, Africa is on the move. Thank you very much.
You may be seated. Thank you very much.
President Cyril Ramaphosa speaking there at the launch of the NantSA vaccine manufacturing campus. The project is expected to produce 1 billion vaccines by 2025.